Hi, my name's Andrea Castillo. I'm an immigration reporter here at the LA Times.
As you know, on Thursday, May 11th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time, the Title 42 public health order will terminate. At that point, we will once again process people at our southern border using our immigration enforcement authorities under Title 8 of the United States Code.
Title 42 is a public health statute from 1944 that essentially allows the U.S. government to temporarily prevent people from coming into the country if there is a disease that poses a significant enough threat. That's exactly what the government did starting in March 2020 when COVID hit. At that point, the Trump administration shut down the border while deaths were surging from COVID-19. And they put forward this sort of novel interpretation of Title 42, which was that border agents could immediately remove anyone who had entered the country without authorization or prevent other people from coming in, even those who were seeking asylum, which is a lawful right. Title 42 was applied by the CDC under pressure from Trump administration officials who were seeking to restrict immigration. This was even after experts at the CDC objected, saying that the policy would not stop COVID from entering the US and that it couldn't be justified in the name of public health. Advocacy groups, including the ACLU, actually sued the Trump administration over the policy. But when President Biden took office, his administration continued it, saying that it was necessary to limit COVID. Legal experts have called Title 42 one of the most controversial and restrictive immigration policies in U.S. history. Kamala Harris, who was then a California senator, actually called it an executive power grab. And immigrant advocates really expected the Biden administration to do away with enforcement of Title 42 when he took office. But even when non-essential travel restrictions were lifted, the administration continued to justify using Title 42. They said that it was necessary to protect migrants, DHS workers, and the local communities on the border. Meanwhile, the advocacy group Human Rights First has documented more than 13,400 violent attacks on asylum seekers who are stuck in Mexico during Biden's first 2 years in office. Migrants who are seeking asylum are required to use a mobile phone application called CBP-1 to make an appointment to be seen by border agents. The application has offered really limited appointments. It's only 1,000 a day, and those fill up within minutes. On Wednesday, the administration also finalized a rule that is largely going to make migrants ineligible for asylum if they have entered the U.S. with permission and failed to apply for protection in another country along their way. DHS is also going to quickly process migrants for removal from the U.S. under this expedited removal process that can take days or weeks. The administration is pairing these enforcement measures with some humanitarian pathways. One of them allows citizens of Venezuela, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Cuba to apply for a temporary lawful entry called humanitarian parole if they have a financial sponsor, as long as they don't try to get to the U.S. without authorization. They're also planning to open about 100 processing centers throughout the Western Hemisphere, starting with Guatemala and Colombia, so that they can pre-screen migrants for refugee eligibility and other lawful pathways to the U.S. But they have noted that it could be weeks before these first two centers open. Another program that they are trying to implement is going to reunite families from El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Colombia, and people from Cuba and Haiti who have pending permanent residency applications. In the weeks leading up to the end of Title 42, DHS has expanded detention capacity at the border and inside the U.S., and they've shifted agents to high traffic areas along the southern border. The agency also launched a targeted enforcement operation this week in places like El Paso so that they could quickly deport migrants who had entered the U.S. without permission and had no legal basis to stay. More migrants have arrived at the southern border in recent days, and those arrivals have strained customs and border protection sectors, especially in Texas. Last week in McAllen, Border Patrol agents told reporters that they had 6,000 migrants in custody, even though they have a capacity for 4,600. And on Tuesday alone, Border Patrol agents apprehended more than 10,000 migrants across the southern border. For the last 3 years, the US government has carried out nearly 2.8 million expulsions of migrants at the border without offering them the opportunity to request asylum. So once Title 42 sunsets at 8:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, it is this whole new era for US border control.